What if laziness isn't a personality flaw? What if everything you were ever told about lazy people is completely wrong? Because science is now revealing something that will make you rethink the entire concept of laziness. And once you understand what's actually happening inside the brain of someone who can't seem to push forward, you will never use the word lazy the same way again. Here's the part nobody talks about. Laziness, as most people define it, doesn't really exist. What looks like laziness from the outside is almost always something else entirely on the inside. And the reason it keeps certain people trapped in the same financial situation year after year has nothing to do with effort. It has to do with something happening quietly inside the brain long before any decision gets made. In the 1960s, psychologist Martin Seligman ran experiments that would change how scientists understood human behavior forever. He placed dogs in a situation where they received mild electric shocks they couldn't escape. After repeated exposure, something strange happened. When the barrier was removed and the dogs could easily walk away, most of them didn't. They lay down. They stopped trying. They had learned that their actions made no difference. Seligman called this learned helplessness. The same pattern was later discovered in humans. People who experience repeated failure, repeated rejection, repeated financial struggle often stop trying. Not because they are lazy, but because their brain has drawn a conclusion from the evidence it was given. That effort doesn't change outcomes. That trying leads to the same result as not trying. And once the brain believes that, it stops generating motivation at the neurological level, not as a choice, as a protection mechanism. What looks like laziness is often a brain that has quietly given up on causality. But something even more surprising is happening underneath that. Neuroscientists studying poverty and financial stress discovered that living under constant financial pressure doesn't just feel bad. It actually reduces cognitive bandwidth. A landmark study published in Science found that the mental load of financial worry consumes the equivalent of 13 IQ points, more than the cognitive impact of a sleepless night. When your brain is constantly running background calculations about bills and survival, it has less processing power available for everything else, for planning, for long-term thinking, for the decisions that actually change financial trajectories. This means poverty doesn't just result from poor decisions. Poverty makes it harder to make good decisions. The very condition someone is trying to escape is quietly degrading the mental tools they need to escape it. This is not an excuse, it is a mechanism. And understanding mechanisms is the only way to change them. Here's where it gets even more interesting. When resources are scarce, the brain automatically narrows its focus to the immediate. Not because people are short-sighted by nature, but because the brain under scarcity prioritizes the urgent over the important as a survival strategy. If you don't know how you're paying rent this month, your brain cannot naturally prioritize investing for 10 years from now. The near-term threat overrides the long-term opportunity, every single time. Not because of weak character, because of how the brain allocates attention under pressure. And nobody teaches this. Instead, society labels the output of these conditions as laziness, as lack of ambition, as personal failure. And the person wearing that label often starts to believe it, which brings us back to learned helplessness. And the cycle closes. But here's the part that changes everything. The brain that learned helplessness can also learn something else. Research consistently shows that the pattern breaks when a person experiences one moment of undeniable agency. One small win that the brain cannot argue with. One moment where cause and effect connect clearly enough to rewire the assumption that effort is pointless. This is why small financial wins matter far more than most financial advice acknowledges. Not because of the money itself, but because of what a small win tells the brain. That effort produces outcomes, that the future is not fixed. The brain doesn't need a massive transformation to begin moving differently. It needs evidence. There is one final layer almost no one talks about: identity. Psychologists found that a person who sees themselves as someone who struggles financially will unconsciously make decisions consistent with that identity. Not out of self-destruction, out of neurological consistency. The brain is wired to behave in ways that match its self-concept. This is why two people can receive identical financial advice and produce completely different results. Same information, completely different identity filter. What looks like laziness is very often an identity problem wearing financial clothes. The people who stay poor are not staying poor because they don't work hard enough. Many of them work extraordinarily hard. They are staying poor because of learned helplessness, cognitive scarcity, and an identity that keeps pulling behavior back toward a familiar financial reality. None of these things are fixed. All of them are mechanisms. And every mechanism can be understood, interrupted, and changed. The real question was never, are you lazy enough? The real question is, what has your brain learned about whether your effort matters? Because the moment your brain gets real evidence that trying changes outcomes, something shifts. Quietly, neurologically, permanently. And that shift is where everything else begins. If this changed how you see yourself or someone you know, subscribe. Because understanding your own mind is the first investment that makes every other one possible.